Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Jenna Aidikoff, and I am the Channel Account Manager with ForeScout, here today with Thomas and Chris to discuss the relationship between ForeScout and IPM's partnership. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. So let's start off by just having each of you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your roles.
Sure. My name is Thomas Hairston. I am the Regional Director of Sales for ForeScout.
I'm Chris Monfet. I'm a Solution Architect in the data center practice at IPM.
Great. So Thomas, to start off, a lot of people that are listening may not be familiar with ForeScout's functionality. So could you give a brief overview of what ForeScout's capabilities are? Sure.
ForeScout as a security platform is based on three fundamental technical pillars, and those are see, control, orchestrate. And from a C perspective, it's our capability to provide 100% visibility to every IP addressable device connecting to a customer's network. From there, the control piece is our ability to layer in policy based on the contextual database that we create out of the visibility, to layer in that policy to institute control for a customer based on internal, external audit, different governing policies, compliance, things along those lines. And then the orchestration piece is our ability to integrate with many of the existing security management compliance tools that customers already have in place today.
Great. And so there's a number of other players in this space. So what makes ForeScout stand out and makes them a unique differentiator?
Sure. So our ability, you're right, there are a number of unique players in the NAC space today. What makes ForeScout so unique is our ability to accomplish access control without any use of an agent. So when you look at the overall security landscape today, what's growing is really the IoT, the Internet of Things aspect of it. What's shrinking from a customer environment perspective are the control devices that they have. Those are the corporate issued laptops, desktops, phones, things along those lines. So the major growth, or the real large security gap, is really on IoT. When you look at what that consists of, those are all things you really can't put an agent on. So I think that's what really makes ForeScout unique, is our ability to gain that visibility of all of those IT, and think of like the Samsung LED device or your physical security cameras, things along those lines. Those are things that we can recognize without having to leverage an agent.
Great. And so, Chris, ForeScout is really excited to now be partnering with IPM. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you see us fitting into your security portfolio and why you're excited to partner with us?
Sure. So IPM has a history of end user computing and internal on an internal network, and ForeScout is allowing us to secure the endpoint and secure the network from the internal. The attacks that we're seeing on the news today are from internal. Walmart and Home Depot and things are happening from on the network. These are coming up in customer conversations on a constant basis, and because ForeScout is not just a point solution where a lot of security products will solve one problem, they're solving the network space and then able to orchestrate with all of the other security products our clients may own to then solve that problem.
Great. Once ForeScout's deployed, it helps identify, as we mentioned, a number of different types of endpoint devices and helps identify their compliance. Where are some places where you've seen this deployed where it's made a big impact for different customers?
Sure. So from my perspective and the ForeScout perspective, it really, to your point, it really automates a lot of the manual processes that we've seen. It's one of the bigger impacts that I've seen, other than just straight visibility, being able to show customers exactly what's on their network, right? You can't protect what you can't see. So very typically when we go into a customer and we run a POC, for example, a proof of concept, we typically show them 30, 40, sometimes 50% more devices on their network than they ever even knew. And these are those IoT devices, right? These are Xboxes, these are refrigerators, coffee makers, things along those lines, physical security like I mentioned before. And then we're able to automate a lot of those manual processes. So when you think of onboarding a new employee, right, from a BYOD perspective, right, having to onboard that mobile device, or even when you look at vulnerability scanning tools, our ability to automate as soon as we see a net new IP address in an environment to be able to engage with a Qualys or a Rapid7 and have them scan that device immediately as opposed to waiting for that schedule to come up. And let's understand if that is a rogue device and what do we need to do with that device to bring it up to compliance. So automating a lot of the manual processes is where I've seen a lot of valuable impact to a customer, as well as just the visibility factor for them to be able to see exactly what's on their environment, to be able to classify that and then be able to take the appropriate action with those particular devices based on their security posture and their characteristic.
Yeah, so we have several clients, one that in particular that has many security products, and they were having a tough time integrating all these into the environment. ForeScout was able to, through their see and control, get the information to the right product and then orchestrate then the solution to either lock down that device or allow it on the network. And allowing it on the network was a major problem, as Thomas has mentioned, just onboarding people. The process of physically going to meet somebody and maybe getting their new iPhone or their new laptop onto the network is now a completely automated process, and the users are just in a much happier place.
That's great. And you bring up a good point that our orchestration is a notable distinguishing factor about ForeScout in that we're able to integrate with over 25 vendors out of the box in order to turn those alerts into actions and really give customers not only faster response when the security incidents do occur, but also greater return on their investment. Are there particular orchestrations that you've seen that have really resonated and gotten customers excited?
Yeah, so the one that we've seen most prevalent is with this integration with SIEM tools, because we're seeing the SOC as a service and the eyes on the glass. They're normally looking at the SIEM first. That's where they want to see, and then as they get alerts, then they're able to act, and now they're almost ahead of the game because they're essentially going to see what ForeScout has already done. So now that it's being alerted, it's being logged, and ForeScout's acting with an orchestration, and the SOC is now getting into the incident response report as opposed to just trying to figure out what happened.
That's great. Thank you so much, Chris and Thomas, for your time this morning. We really appreciate your thoughts. We would love to discuss with you more about ForeScout and how it can help you in your environment. Go to ipm.com to learn more, and we look forward to setting up a conversation. Thanks, and have a great day.